Hello everyone and welcome to this All the Anime panel here at ReedPop's Metaverse. I am Jeremy Graves from All the Anime. I'm the marketing executive at All the Anime, and joining me, chances are if you've been to a panel of ours before at any of the MCM Comic Cons around the UK, you will know the man joining me as part of this panel. It is the one and only Mr. Andy Hanley. How are you doing, good sir?
Yeah, I'm doing very well. It's really comfy here in the Metaverse. They even have free biscuits. It's great.
Indeed, and I guess I should clarify, you are marketing manager of All the Anime. I should actually give you your title rather than just being a really lousy subordinate of yours.
Yes, yeah, I have many hats within the company, but yeah, marketing manager is the official one that I'm wearing today.
I mean, who doesn't have many hats at this point in this world that we live in?
Yes, we all have a smorgasbord of hats, some might say.
There you go. So, folks, if you've not encountered one of our All the Anime panels before, good luck. I hope you enjoy it. Well, we certainly like to have a good time. We tend to do these at MCM Comic Cons around the UK, more specifically at the London events in recent years. And we like to give you an introduction to the company. We like to talk about what we do. And you never know, well, we will, I'll just say it now, have some cool news to share with you as well. So, Andy, on that note, where do we want to start on this here edition of our panel?
Yeah, well, I guess very quickly we should just tell people who we are, just in case people are new to us. So we are All the Anime, aka Anime Limited, and as the name suggests, we do all things anime related. Whether it's collector's editions, which we're probably best known for, all the way through to our Ultimate Edition products that are really cool home video releases. We put anime in the cinema when cinemas are kind of open and available. We put things out digitally, and more recently we've branched out into things like merchandise and vinyl records as well.
But folks, before we get to there, we actually want to talk to you about something else that we at Anime Limited are involved with. Let's just call it a spade like it is. This being an online streaming platform by the name of Screen Anime. Now, Andy, you are yourself heavily involved in this behind the scenes. So why don't you give people a little bit of an introduction as to what this is? Because it's a bit different to perhaps other streaming services that people may have seen going around when it comes to anime.
Absolutely, yeah. So Screen Anime is what we kind of call an online film festival. So rather than kind of a more traditional streaming service where you're just getting a lot of content thrown at you, like a Crunchyroll or a Netflix, what we try to offer is something that's a bit more curated and a bit more kind of bespoke. So on a monthly basis, we basically rotate our lineup, kind of a little bit like sort of something like, PS Plus in the video game space, where we'll offer you a set of 4 films and 1 TV series that will run for that month. And you can watch and enjoy them, and we sort of curate that selection around usually around some kind of theme, and we normally sort of run the gamut from things that are kind of old classics, favorites from festivals that we've run or attended, all the way through to premieres and kind of films that have not been available digitally in the UK before. So yeah, you can sign up at www.screenanime.com. We have a 3-day free trial, so you can try before you buy. It's just £3.98 per month or £39.98 if you want our annual pass. If you do go for our annual pass, you also get 10% off all purchases at our alltheanime.com store. So if you're also a fan of our home video products, it's honestly worth the price for that alone, quite frankly, because you'll get some really good savings on everything that we release. And so if you want to have a quick peek at the current lineup at the time of this panel, we've got a quick sizzle reel for you to give you a little taster of what we've got going on.
So there you go, folks. That is the current lineup on Screen Anime. And gotta say, Andy, it's a pretty unique lineup in itself when you actually just look at the titles. I say on paper, but also on screen, just like that. It's quite a unique lineup in itself.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the big highlight, the big premiere for the month is Ride Your Wave, which is one of the latest films from Masaki Yuasa, one of our favorite directors. It's a really fantastic film. It's really enjoyable and fun, but also incredibly kind of moving and and heartwarming, and it'll probably make you cry a bit as well, to be quite honest. So it's a really good premiere, a really good summer film as well, because it's a lot of it is set around surfing and the beach and stuff like that. So it's got a good summer vibe to it. He says as it's raining outside in Glasgow when we record this. And also sticking on the kind of summary and Masaki Yuasa bent, we also have Lu Over the Wall, which is a really great family film from Yuasa-san, which is also a whole lot of fun and again, a very kind of like summertime adventure sort of film. And then likewise, we have My Miracle, which is more of a period piece set in 1950s Japan, if I recall, which is, again, kind of a bit of a sort of a summer sort of family adventure, but it's a really gorgeous film from Sunao Katabuchi, who directed In This Corner of the World. And then we've got a little bit of surfing of a very different nature in Anemone, Eureka 7 High Evolution, which is the second film in the Eureka 7 film trilogy, which is basically kind of rebooting the Eureka 7 story in a massive way that I'm actually a really big fan of for this second film. And the good news is, if you haven't kind of watched any of those films yet, our bonus feature for film 2 is the first film. So if you haven't caught up and you need to, films 1 and 2 are both available on the service.
Yeah, I've got to be honest, Andy, when it comes to Ride Your Wave, I've really enjoyed Masaki Uesa's films and just his works in general. When you think of the Tatami Galaxy as a series, there was also Devilman Crybaby, which was on Netflix. And then obviously Night is Short, Walk On Girl, like you mentioned, and Lu Over the Wall. Having now seen Ride Your Wave, because I've only had a chance to see it very recently at the time we're recording this, I'm going to be honest and say it's my favorite Uesa film. There is just something about it that it really, I mean, I'll be blunt, it hit me like an emotional rock through my heart at points. It was a tough watch for me from an emotional point of view, but just the overall story, the presentation of it, it's just really, really good. And also, if you're someone who really enjoys watching films or prefers to watch films with an English dub, the English dub of Ride Your Wave is really, really good. And that is another thing to emphasize about Screen Anime as well, Andy, because it's not just subtitled content that we offer on there.
Yeah, absolutely. Whenever there is a dub available and we are able to screen it, we will show films with sub and dub options. So regardless, you can pick your poison. We will cover off both bases wherever we can.
So from there, Andy, I think we should probably go back to home video release talk, because that is kind of the bread and butter of what we do, but it is also a very crucial thing that we love to do as well. That's the thing we like to emphasize. And I want to kick off, actually, let's keep on the theme of films, because there was a very popular film a few years ago by the name of Your Name. That's a good tongue twister in itself. I'll try not to do that again. But by Makoto Shinkai, the film called Your Name, the new film from that same director, Weathering With You, after screening in the cinemas here in the UK, it is coming to home video. It is going to be available on regular DVD, regular Blu-ray. There is a collector's edition steelbook, and we have also now got the privilege, I should say, Andy, of being able to bring a deluxe edition to the UK. But there's a little bit of a twist with the deluxe edition, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. So anybody who saw our home video release of Your Name will know probably that we did a deluxe edition of that came with a really big book that is kind of based off of the book that came with the Japanese deluxe edition. And as mentioned, obviously you've got the film on Blu-ray. There's an entire disc of bonus features as well that has a documentary about kind of the making of the film effectively. But above all else, this is going to be the first anime release to contain a 4K UHD Blu-ray. So, if you want to see one of the most beautiful looking films in the absolute highest fidelity possible with fantastic HDR lighting, this is going to be the way to do it. This deluxe edition will contain the 4K Blu-ray, which I think is really important in a year where the PlayStation 5 is coming out. The new Xbox obviously also supports 4K Blu-rays. So, if you're looking to get one of the new consoles, if you're not already on the 4K train, this is maybe a good addition to your collection to get started and really enjoy it to the fullest.
Or another way to look at it as well is if you're someone who is thinking of getting one of those consoles at some point in the future, I will phrase it like that, this is a way of almost future-proofing yourself, because then you will have something to really utilize that new technology when you have it.
Yeah, absolutely. You can watch it on Blu-ray for now, and then when you get your 4K set up, then you're all set to blow your mind with some gorgeous Makoto Shinkai visuals.
Indeed, and if you're someone who is interested in steelbooks as well, that same steelbook that I mentioned that was part of the collector's edition, that is included in the deluxe edition. So you get that same packaging in there. You get the film on 4K Blu-ray, regular Blu-ray as we mentioned. There is also a bonus Blu-ray just packed full of content. I think, Andy, because I'm trying to go from memory on this, there's like a making of the film on there, isn't there?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of extras on the main Blu-ray, and then the bonus is basically dedicated purely to this whole kind of full-blown making of documentary, which is about 90 minutes long, if I recall. So it's a real deep dive. I'm actually quite looking forward to seeing myself, because I want to know more about the making of this film, quite frankly, because it's so astounding to look at.
And then in addition to that, we've got a big beefy book in there as well, packed full of information and interviews and such. And of course, to round it off, I'd like to give you a few little physical extras. So you've got some art cards, a poster, and Andy, we're even throwing in the sticker.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, again, another nice little addition that was also in the Japanese release that we thought was a lot of fun. So yeah, stick your favorite stick your favorite Weathering with You characters onto a surface of your choice.
Now, we do need to highlight an important detail about the deluxe edition, everyone, and that is that it is exclusive to our alltheanime.com online store and to Zavi.com. So make sure you get your pre-order in, because once the pre-order period has passed, there will likely not be a lot of copies available after that to be able to be ordered. So if you're really interested in that, we really strongly encourage you to visit our alltheanime.com online store. Head over to alltheanime.com/metaverse. You can click on the listing for the Weathering with You Deluxe Edition in there, and you can read all the details about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, we're basically at the kind of the tail end of the pre-order period now. So yeah, it's definitely one. If you want it, then get in fast. So I'd advise you buy now rather than later, because there might not be many left at this point.
Exactly. From there, Andy, we briefly mentioned about vinyl releases earlier, having mentioned that we've done a Silent Voice and the Foolie Cooley soundtrack. Our next vinyl release is, like we said, it's for a little tiny show some people may know of called Attack on Titan. And when I say a tiny show, I'm of course being incredibly sarcastic when I say that. It is one of the biggest shows on the planet. I personally freaking love the show. And the fact that we get to release just the music for the show by Hiroyuki Sawano, who did the soundtrack for Promare, Gundam Unicorn springs to mind. Loads and loads of just cracking great soundtracks. The music that you hear in the background of that series, the season 1 soundtrack, is coming to vinyl, and it's coming in the form of a deluxe edition and a standard edition as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, not only is it an iconic anime, it's an iconic soundtrack. Like, it's one of those things you could probably play people like a 10-second snippet of it, and if you're an anime fan, you'll know exactly who the composer is and what the series is, just like that. It's you know, it's really fantastic. And yeah, like you say, we're going to be releasing all of the Attack on Titan soundtracks on vinyl, so this is only the start. But it's very exciting that we're able to do this. And yeah, so basically what we're doing with this product is we're splitting it into 2 versions. So we're doing a standard edition, which is just a typical 3-disc gatefold release, which obviously is just 3 black vinyl. Just there you go. There's an insert with some lyrics and a little bit of information, and you know, that's your simple basic release. But if you want something a little bit more special, our deluxe edition comes in a kind of book style package, which is far sturdier. It's far more kind of to be frank, it's a lot easier to get the actual vinyl records out of it, because we're not always big fans of like 3-disc gatefolds. They can be a little bit unwieldy, so we wanted to create something with some better packaging for our deluxe edition, and this kind of book design is what we've gone for. And plus, the vinyl is a kind of very fetching and kind of topical color, if you like. You know, it fits in with the aesthetic of the series and of the release, so it's got a nice kind of colored smoky vinyl effect as well. So that's all really cool stuff.
Indeed. It's also worth noting as well that when it comes to how the vinyl is stored inside of the deluxe edition, it's all top loading. So if you're someone who's worried that if you maybe pull it out from your shelf and you tilt it at just the right angle, all the vinyl will start to slip out, ain't gonna happen, because it's all top loading, so it'll be stored vertically.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also worth noting very briefly for people who are kind of on the fence is that we will be following this model for all of the other seasons of Attack on Titan. So there will be a standard and a deluxe edition. And what you'll find as we get to the later seasons of Attack on Titan, once we get to season 2 onwards, is that you'll find a bigger difference still between the standard and the deluxe edition. There will be a lot more in the package for the season 2 and 3 deluxe editions. So it's worth bearing that in mind if you're kind of trying to figure out how you want to start your collection, and if you want consistency. The deluxe edition will be even more of a kind of a compelling package come season 2, because we're going to have a lot of really cool stuff that we can do with those.
And also, we've got to highlight, Andy, the deluxe edition, 1,000 units of it only.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's going to sell fast. So yeah, don't delay.
And we should also emphasize 1,000 units like worldwide. This isn't just like a UK thing. Like, this is it. So if you want that deluxe edition, order it.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we should say, obviously, this is available from our alltheanime.com store, right here. So again, alltheanime.com/metaverse, you'll find it there. But it is also available on Right Stuff in the US. And there are also some variants with a few retailers elsewhere as well. So we'll be kind of linking to those, on our website, etc. We'll have a blog post that we'll probably link to that gives you all of the information on that if you're interested in those variants. But yeah, it is available in the US and Canada as well. So yeah, absolutely. If you're a US fan watching this, then you're still open to pick up a copy as well.
So we go from a deluxe vinyl package and from a deluxe film package, Andy. Let's move up in scale, if you will. Let's move to an ultimate edition, because our ultimate editions are something that I'm not going to say we do them regularly, because we're very selective about them. The stars have got to align for when an ultimate edition can come to be. And in this case, Be the Beginning is one of those projects. It is a series that some of you may have seen on Netflix. It's from Production IG, who's brought you Ghost in the Shell, Psychopaths, and directed by Kazuto Nakazawa, who was, to give some reference here, folks, was heavily involved in if you remember the film Kill Bill with Uma Thurman, and you had the anime shorts involving Lucy Liu's character, he was heavily involved in the production of those, as well as the Linkin Park Breaking the Habit music video. Personally, one of my favorite music videos of all time. So I've got a big soft spot for this already. But the Be the Beginning Ultimate Edition is something which in terms of how much we can stack a release, everybody, there is a lot to this, because you of course get the entire series on Blu-ray with both English audio and Japanese with English subtitles viewing options. There's some cool extras on there as well, including an exclusive interview with the director that we conducted ourselves. There is also the entire soundtrack CD included in the package as well. But that's not all, Andy, is there? Because there's a couple of extra things we need to highlight.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the main thing for me with this Ultimate Edition, which is kind of why we created it, is we were given a huge wealth of materials that is effectively like an entire encyclopedia of the series, if you like. Like if you want to delve deep into the lore of Be the Beginning, and there is a lot of it, trust me. We have got a massive art book that is full of basically an A to Z of all things Be the Beginning, and it's packed with information as well as kind of the more traditional stuff that you'll see in our kind of our books and booklets in terms of interviews and production stuff. And so it really is just a comprehensive guide to kind of every aspect of the series. And it's a really fantastic and fascinating read on every level. So, if you're a fan of the series, and if you haven't watched it yet, you can actually check it out on Netflix right now. So you can certainly try before you buy in terms of the series itself. But it's a really good kind of comprehensive look at every part of that show.
Indeed, and keep an eye on all of our social media channels and our YouTube channel as well, folks, All the Anime, because we will have some previews on there for you to delve into as well if you are interested in checking out the show, but perhaps don't have a Netflix subscription or similar. And Andy, I'm just going to reiterate again, you can pre-order that right now. alltheanime.com/metaverse is your hub to go to find that product specifically. So from there, everybody, it's time to get onto the part of the show which we know some of you have probably been waiting for with eager anticipation, that being our announcements for today. But before we get to the announcements, we actually want to double back a couple of months to an announcement that we made public during the Cloud Matsuri online convention, which we were heavily involved with. Now, chances are some of you are already aware of this, but we actually want to make sure that everyone watching this here today, here at the Metaverse, is just aware of this announcement, because it's a pretty big deal, Andy, and it concerns a little show called Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Yes, indeed. We had a lot of fun at the end of our Cloud Matsuri panel, lifting the lid on this one, because we've been beavering away in the background on this for quite a while. And I think it was relief as much as anything that we're finally allowed to talk about it, no longer under pain of death. So yeah, we are going to be releasing the original Neon Genesis Evangelion TV series and the two movies, Death True Squared and The End of Evangelion. And we will be releasing them on Ultimate Edition Blu-ray in 2021. I know it's what people have been waiting for about a decade now, I think, but even more so since Evangelion came to Netflix last year. And so, yeah, we're really thrilled that we're going to be, able to release it at all, and that we're going to be able to give it a full-blown Ultimate Edition treatment for the UK on Blu-ray. And yeah, like as somebody who is a massive Evangelion fan, it's an important part of why I'm here doing what I do now. I just could not be more excited that we're able to handle this title.
Yeah, when we first announced this, not trying to emphasize this, but a lot of the internet imploded for a little bit because people just didn't believe it was happening. But it is 100% true, everybody. But there are a couple of details we just want to highlight. We've got no other details to confirm or announce at this time. We know that a lot of you desperately want some more info. That is the info that we can tell you at this time. But Andy, what we have done is we have come up with a way of people to be able... We've come up with a way, try that again, Jeremy, of being able to be among some of the first people to get the latest news about this as we can bring it, haven't we?
Yeah, absolutely. It's obviously 2021, not as far away as you think, but, still a little ways away. But we know people are hungry for information and want to know more about our release. And so we've created a little website where we will be keeping it updated with the latest news and information as we're able to reveal more and as things solidify. But also to save you the hassle of having to constantly go to a website and hit F5, because if I was an Evangelion fan, I would just be awake all the time just hitting F5 to find out what we're going to do with our release. We've created a mailing list for you. So if you head on over to evangelion.alltheanime.com, you'll find that webpage. As mentioned, we'll add things in as we get more news and more details. But there's also a sign up button to a newsletter wherein you know that you will receive straight to your mailbox all of the latest Evangelion news as more details of our Ultimate Edition become clear.
And of course, we'll be publishing details as we can in the newsletter that Andy's talked about there, on our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, on our blog, and on our alltheanime.com online shop as well. We're going to be doing that for all of that as well. It's just, this is another way of making sure that you guys out there can get the news first. If you're someone who maybe doesn't check a website that often or doesn't want to be spending your life hitting F5, because folks, honestly, don't just hit F5 on this thing all day, every day, because there's only going to be updates when we can bring them. And it's not going to be something you're going to find something in the deep, dark reaches of the code somewhere. Literally, you won't. So give it a sign up. At the very least, you'll get the news when it's available. And that's one little bit of extra information that's peace of mind for you.
Indeed.
So Andy, on to new announcements, as it were. I want to kick off, first of all, Andy, with a show that I know you are a huge fan of. And I haven't seen all of the show yet, admittedly. I've kind of been trying to savor it in a bit of a selfish way because I've just really enjoyed what I've seen so far of it. But there was a show which the manga of it was really turning a lot of heads, like a lot of heads. You got me onto the manga and I was hooked. And as soon as an anime was announced, it's like, right, I'm waiting for the anime to be released because I want to see this show. And then I loved it so much, I'm now being selfish and I just want to binge watch all of it in one go because that's the kind of human being that I am. I'm an awkward one. So we are delighted to announce that we are going to be releasing The Promised Neverland on Blu-ray. Season 1 is coming to Blu-ray later this year in 2020.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, as mentioned, yeah, I got into the manga pretty early on for Promised Neverland. It's now finished. You can read it on the Shonen Jump app, and the ending is just as terrific as the start. Like, it's one of those series that doesn't like fall off a cliff anywhere. I'm a big booster of the source material, and yeah, the first season of the anime is terrific as well. Like, it's a really good, strong adaptation of it that takes a lot of the best elements and really kind of makes it work in animated form. So yeah, like, I was really excited to find out that we're going to be able to release season 1, and obviously we'll be giving it our usual collector's edition treatment. So again, we'll have more details to share once we have kind of a date locked in, but expect that to arrive later in 2020 on collector's edition Blu-ray.
So Andy, pop quiz for you. What's your elevator pitch for Promised Neverland?
So it's a bunch of kids who are incredibly smart in an orphanage, and they're just having a good time. They're all good friends. They're all family. They're looked after by their kind of adoptive mother. Everything looks fantastic, except everything is very much not fantastic. And there is a big reveal that I feel like it's pretty hard for people not to have been spoiled on that, at least. But I'll keep it under my hat. But there's a fantastic plot twist that changes the game significantly for these orphans, and it turns into kind of a real sort of cat and mouse thriller. Like, it's a little bit of almost a modern Death Note in a way. Like, it has that same kind of like intelligent writing and that constant kind of shifting of, like, cat and mouse, who's going to outsmart who kind of thing. And I really love that kind of stuff at the best of times, and this does it so incredibly well.
It is quite the ride, everybody. So look forward to that coming out later this year. Andy, what do you want to hit up next on the announcement train?
Yeah, so I mean, we mentioned that that we do a lot with film here at Anime Limited. We've mentioned screen anime, and that we do theatrical releases when we can and when circumstances allow. So I'd like to talk about a theatrical film that we have not announced thus far, and that is Children of the Sea, which will also be coming to collector's edition Blu-ray in 2020. So Children of the Sea is based on a manga by Ayumu Watanabe. It is a really beautiful but kind of surreal series, and the film adaptation of it is absolutely stunning visually. Like, it's perhaps one of my biggest kind of disappointments for this year in terms of films that we were hoping to put into cinemas but can't under the current circumstances, because this is a film that absolutely looks incredible on a big screen, but it'll look great on Blu-ray on your own TVs as well. So hopefully people will check out the collector's edition, because I guess my elevator pitch while we're doing that on titles is that this is kind of, imagine 2001 A Space Odyssey but in the sea. Like, it's basically, it has that kind of existential like train of thought to it of just like, what is life, what is existence, but kind of set in a more aquatic setting, like, rather than the depths of space. And so it's really thought-provoking, it's really mind-bending, but above all, it is just incredibly beautiful. Like, if you're a fan of just animation, this is a film you absolutely have to own and absolutely have to watch, because it is just stunning.
I'm going to be honest, your elevator pitch was awesome. I was not expecting that. So, okay, you know what then, Andy? Because the next one deserves an elevator pitch in itself, but I know this is a title we are extremely looking forward to be announced again. I know you've been chomping at the bit to want to wax lyrical about this, so I'm going to let you take the reins on this last one. I'm going to let you have the glory.
Yeah, so another film that we'll be releasing is this is far more of a classic, and anybody who's followed Anime Limited through the years will know that we're huge fans of Satoshi Kon. Like, who isn't? One of the greatest directors of all time. Never mind anime directors, just directors. He's that good. And it's, it continues to be incredibly sad that he's no longer with us. We've previously released Perfect Blue, kind of an absolute masterpiece of his. We've released an Ultimate Edition of it because that's how good it is. And so we're really thrilled to say that we have acquired another of Mr. Khan's films in the form of Millennium Actress, which will be coming to UK Blu-ray. We're hoping towards the end of this year. It may end up being early 2021, but we'll see how that goes. So the film has recently been kind of remastered into 4K. We're probably not going to release it on 4K Blu-ray, quite frankly, but we will be releasing a Blu-ray based off of that remaster. And it looks really fantastic. And yeah, it's another Satoshi Kon classic. Like, it is the story of a a retired kind of actress who's become something of a sort of a recluse and a hermit after finishing her career, and a journalist who is a big fan of hers finally managed to track her down for his big interview to find out, find out about her life and her career and why she just disappeared off of the scene. And it uses that as a really smart kind of way of jumping through cinema history, basically. We're getting a booklet commissioned to go with this release that is going to talk about a lot of the actual real life kind of cinematic inspirations for this film, because it's clearly a film created with a love of cinema as a whole, and it is this fantastic journey through time, through genres of film, and so on and so forth, all just based around this one actress. It's a beautiful film. It's really touching. It's really smart. If you've seen any of Satoshi Kon's other films and enjoy them, you will also enjoy this one, absolutely. And if you're a fan of cinema at all, this is a film you absolutely should watch. So yeah, Millennium Actress coming to Blu-ray soon, hopefully.
Stay tuned for more information on that as we can bring it, everybody. We are incredibly excited to be able to add the Satoshi Kon film to our wide, diverse range of catalogue of films at this point. It is mental. So there you go, folks. I think that's going to just about wrap us up for today. We are just about out of time. But Andy, anything you want to end with, or any other random quips you've got in your locker that you want to throw out there?
No, I think just, thank you for joining us on this this short little journey through all things Anime Limited. And as mentioned, check out Screen Anime at www.screenanime.com. And of course, you can find us at www.alltheanime.com. So we hope to see you around.
Indeed, and remember, you can find us on social media, that being Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Search for the username, All the Anime, all one word. With that being said, everybody, I've been Jeremy Graves. He's been Andy Hanley. From us at Team Anime Limited, All the Anime. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great Metaverse.
Bye, everyone.